Here. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Yes, glad to. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. So tell me, who are you?
My name is Noah Stratton. I have the privilege of being the executive director for the Academy of Arts Ministries, and then we kind of what we're more known for, I should say now, almost besides that kind of umbrella ministry, is our Logos Theater. That's our home base for a lot of our operations. We have a five-faceted ministry. So Logos Theater is kind of the home base, and then that's where we do our major productions and get to do everything there. And our goal for all of the productions and everything that we're doing is to train and inspire the next generation to be the servant leaders that God wants them to be, and to how to properly use the arts for others' good and for God's glory. A lot of times those things get used for selfish reasons, or for just to make money, or for fame, or for prestige. And our goal is really to try to instill into anybody that we work with that these gifts were given to us by God, and they're a down payment on our lives. And so we're just simply supposed to be crafting those, refining those, and using them in the best way that we can for His honor and for His glory. So that's kind of the big picture of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, and you guys have some very well-known productions as well. That really, I mean, you guys have a reputation, at least locally. It's not all the listeners are local to the Greenville area, but you guys have some stuff that's at least regionally, I think, known very well.
Yeah, we're very excited to see how the word's getting out about what we have going on. Probably our most popular thing would be the Chronicles of Narnia series that we've been working on. We've done The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and now The Horse and His Boy on a full scale level. Really been amazing to see the response from that. We've had people come from all over the country and from some other countries just to see those. Because very few places, a lot of people will do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but very few have gone past that one. So
Right.
our goal is to eventually do all seven, and to do them at a really high level professionally, because we love the messages in them, and we love what C.S. Lewis did, and the layers he put in there of wonderful storytelling mixed with great deep truth, and how we get to share those with people and have people come get involved in them.
Very cool. Very cool. And you guys do theater. You guys also do other performance art as well, right? I know there's at least film camps and things.
Right. So we have we have the theater that's running full time, and then we have the film and media kind of side of what we do. We've started a small film company, Venture Films, and we've done a few short films, and then we also we have a college program. So that's one of the tracks in our college program. Our main two tracks are the production side, stage production, dramatic production as a whole, and then film and media. So yeah, we do a lot. Not as much yet with film compared to the performing arts and
Sure.
theater, but it's really growing, and it's neat to see where that's taking off. And our hope is to be doing a feature length film fairly soon. Don't have a timeline for that yet, but excited about doing that and trying to do something that have a great message, but be again very professionally done. So excited to see some pieces that looks like God's kind of bringing together for that sometime in the future.
Very cool. Very cool. What so have you personally always had a thing for the arts? Are you a thespian at heart?
Uh, Kind of yes and no. I grew up doing a lot, not necessarily big productions. My dad I had two older brothers. We were all kind of stair steps. I was the third of the three, and during any time during high school or high school years, we would be involved in like every type of speech performance competition there was. So we had a fine arts competition each year, and we would enter like all eight categories, you know. So I always enjoyed that, but I thought I'd really like to use whatever I do. I felt a big calling on my life to use it to impact others, to be a ministry to other people. I didn't really see how the arts and ministry connected. I saw a lot of it being used Hollywood, Broadway, for money, for fame, for pushing a lot of wrong ideas, a lot of the times. And I thought, well, I don't want to try to go in and try to change that. And again, we've seen that through the years, how people try to do that, and they kind of get overwhelmed with all the negativity if they're actually trying to live a life that honors God. So
Right.
I thought, well, I'll go into teaching. I enjoy working with young people, so I'll be a teacher. And I was headed that direction, and then found out about the Academy of Arts here when I was actually in my junior year of college. And I was intrigued by it, of a place that is trying to do things really well and doing it professionally, but doing it as a ministry, doing it to help people, investing in the kids, investing in the people's lives, and trying to teach them. And the plays had a purpose, they had a point, they had a message, and that was a big deal to me. A lot of plays and things, it could be fun, it could be whatever, but there's really no point to them. And I thought that really hit me one time in college. In college, I was involved in a big production, and it was. I got to the end of it, and I was like, "What did I just spend 3 months of my life doing?"
Right.
And so, really had that burden to do something that mattered. And so, when I found out about the Academy of Arts, I was pretty excited right away. Came and started getting involved, and I got hooked pretty fast. So, love a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sweat. People see the stage, or they see a film, or they see, and they're like, "Ooh, that's cool," or "That's fun," but it's
Right.
91% hard work.
Right.
About 1% of the really kind of getting to it, the enjoyment part of it. But it's awesome. So it's all worth it when you see the change that happens in people's hearts and lives through being involved in it. So that's what makes it all worth it.
Do you have any of those stories? Do you have any of those? I'm sure you've had both on the student side as well as people watching performances.
Yeah, we've had a number of testimonies of people that had neighbors, family members, friends that would not really care anything about God, not really care anything about the things of the Lord, wouldn't care about going to church, and they would get them to come and see our productions because it's just a play, right? So it's no big deal. It's just
Right.
entertainment, as people like to say. So people kind of get their guards down, and Christians do this kind of in the bad way. Well, they'll let in a lot of junk because it's just entertainment. And other people, though, will do that from the other side of it, and we get to give them an awesome message. We try to really grab them with the professionalism and the powerful story, but then really get that truth to open up conversations. We've had a number of stories of people that have gotten saved because it brought up a lot of questions in their mind, and then the person that brought them got to follow up and give them the truth, which is really, really exciting to see there. Number of those, but then so many stories of young people, how it's transformed their lives, because especially with younger people and older people, as we're trying to follow Christ, the best thing we can do to be a follower of Christ is to read the Word. But there's one thing better than reading it, that's memorizing it, hiding it in our heart. There's one thing better than that, it's meditating on it. There's one thing better than that, it's becoming it. And that's our ultimate goal. So that's the exact same steps of the stage. You have to read the script, but you can't stop there. You better memorize it. Can't stop there. You got to meditate on it. Can't stop there. You got to become the character. So there's so many awesome principles like that where we just see young people's lives transform. I just had a 4-page letter sitting right here on my desk from a young lady who got involved and played the part in the Narnia productions, and it transformed her. She said, "I didn't believe there were people like this who would just stop and pray with you." She said, "I was blown away by that." And then people that would constantly be pointing out scriptural or spiritual truth throughout the course of a job or a production or work. She said people cared for me. And she went on and on. It's a 4-page letter of a young lady like that. And it's just how it's transformed her life. And she says, "I can't wait to come back. I can't wait to go share what I've learned with other people." And that's what we love. We love our motto is making the Bible come alive. And that started out as people seeing plays like biblical plays or whatever, and it said that made the Bible come alive to me. And that's a great thing, but we want it to go a step deeper, a big step deeper, of that the Bible means something to people individually. It's not just black marks on a white page. That these are real people. They went through real struggles, real problems, real difficulties, and they learned how to deal with those in the right way. And that's a great thing about stage, because you're giving people pressure. A lot of people don't know how to deal with pressure. They melt under pressure. They run away. They quit. And you see it happening with marriages. You see it happening in families. You see it happening in businesses and churches. People fall apart when some pressure hits. And so it's exciting when we get to give some good pressure, hey, you're going to do a play. That's
Right.
some, but it's a good play because then we get to see maybe some wrong or tough reactions come out, and we get to address those right there, help them work through those things, and it's life changing for them. So we love what we get to do here for sure.
That's one thing about plays in general too, is, no production ever goes like perfectly smooth, or, there's always at least one or two things you're like, oh, okay, well, that's different. But
Yeah, that's right. That's
nice
right.
to see how people react to that.
Right, right. And it's cool about life because when in life does stuff go exactly as you plan? Almost never. I mean, once in a while it will, but I mean,
Right.
that's just like a play. Like you got to learn to adapt and overcome and deal with issues, like our train that's out there. I don't know if you've heard that or not, but we have a train right outside, and it loves to come at the most inopportune times. But
No worries. No worries. No worries. So why, the arts? Why is that important to the Christian life? Why art?
yeah, it's a great question, and I think maybe I might answer it from a little bit of a negative way first. I don't know, negative way, but as I feel a lot of Christians especially can say the arts don't really matter. Like business is really important, church is really important, family is really important. Those are like real life things. But then I get into entertainment or the arts, and that's again that what I go back to that quote unquote just entertainment. Um,
Right.
and it's not important. We don't need to be involved in that. But you look at what Satan's doing with the arts and the philosophies that people are swallowing hook, line, and sinker that are being pushed in these really eye-popping big special effects movies all the time they're going on, and they're putting in an agenda all the time, all the time, all the time. There's an agenda, and people, oh, it's just entertainment. And they'll sit and watch for 2 hours something that, and all these bad ideas, bad attitudes, bad philosophies about authority, about families, about parents, about government, about whatever is getting pushed in, and people just take it because it's just entertainment. They don't matter, and a lot of people kind of act like it doesn't really matter. And I think a lot of Christians in some ways have thought of it that way, of like we really need to impact the business world and obviously in our church and in our families and really make an impact. But I feel like Satan is just destroying almost all of that through the arts, through the thing that doesn't really matter, which I think matters tremendously. And we look at the story of Christ. Why the arts? Christ constantly taught through stories, parables. He was almost always using parables. There were lots of times people would ask him some really deep question that would stump a lot of people, and he wouldn't even answer. He'd just tell a story and then walk away and wouldn't even explain the story.
Right.
His disciples are following after him. No, Lord, what did that mean? Could you explain that to us? What were you saying right there? We didn't get it. And he wouldn't even explain at times. And he would leave people with stories for them just to think about. And a story has all these layers. It has these different characters. It has these rise and falls. It has all these different things in it, as opposed to just saying, here's an answer. And someone could then try to fight the answer. They could try to refute the answer. They could try to argue with it. And he at times did, of course, just give straight answers, but a lot of times he just gave a story. And so that's a lot with ours as well, of storytelling. There's a power to that, an amazing power to that we see constantly used in the scripture, and then used very effectively, sadly, most in the wrong way today. I feel like there's some places, they're trying to do it and use it in the right way. But there's a lot of places using it very effectively, but to give wrong ideas and wrong messages. And then another side of it, why we use the arts, is because there's an old adage in youth work: if you don't use me, you lose me. And when you're in a classroom setting, a teacher is sitting there, telling the student what to do and take a test or take a quiz or write a paper about it. But if I say, hey, students, I'm going to teach you this truth, and then you're going to get up with me and you're going to give out that truth, now all of a sudden they better pay attention or they're in trouble.
Right.
So when we say, okay, young people, we're going to teach you how to sew, how to build, how to do graphic design, how to do these special effects makeup, how to do construction, how to do electrical work, how to do all these amazing life skills that are in the arts. And I love that too about the arts. We can use anybody from any walk of life, and we can plug you in here.
Right.
that's cool about the arts. It's not one specific area. You have to go get all this training for in one area, to go enter this one field. It's such a wide variety of things that can be used. But then you bring them in, and then they are a part of giving out the message, and that gives a whole new level to it. And now all of a sudden, it's their own. And it's that concept in business. You want people that are working with you and for you not to be like employees. You want them to have the mindset of I'm a part owner. And now all of a sudden, if I'm an owner of something, there's a lot bigger. I'm going to take what I'm doing much more seriously. I'm going to take a lot more initiative. I'm going to be a lot more proactive. And so we love that about working with the arts, because we're getting people, we're bringing them with us, and we're saying, we're immersing them in it. Not just take a quiz on this, take a test on this, write a paper about it. Okay, good job. You get an A. See ya. You're gone. No, you're going to get up here and do it with us and help us give that message out as well. And now all of a sudden, it's an immersive experience, and it hits them not just mentally, not just in their heart, but in their all three. How you get real change is it's got to hit your heart, and your mind, and your will. It's got to move me somewhat in my emotions, but I've got to be persuaded in my mind, mentally, and intellectually. But then my will has to say, okay, I got to make a change. And that's when you actually have change, when those three things happen. And it's cool on the stage because the arts help really develop that in young people, to attach their heart to it, but also to really work their mind and be thinking, and then their will, they have to make that choice of take that next step. So a lot of reasons we love working and using the arts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love all that, because you're exactly right. It's so much of the arts have gone, I don't know, in a negative way over the past century or so, but relatively recently. And because it used to be, art was like the Christian thing. We were Christians who were putting together, plays and stained glass windows and all
Right.
these things.
Right.
And then we sort of seeded that,
Sure.
which is negative, right?
Right.
Not a good thing. What sort of do you see? I mean, why do you think that sort of took place? I mean, what do you think? And there's no wrong answer. We're speculating, right? But what do you think? What do you think sort of has caused that? I mean, I think overwhelmingly, the arts now in the world are secular, and that's one of the reasons why what you guys are doing is so awesome. Is you're really reclaiming that. So that if you are somebody who, like I was in high school, I liked doing plays and musicals and those types of things more than pretty much anything else. You hear about sports teams praying and those types of things, even in like public high school. You don't really have that in the theater world. At a secular school. What do you think sort of has caused that? What do you think caused that sort of rift between the church and the arts? Again, relatively recently.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. One thing I would see is that there's as we've moved through history, there's been swings back and forth, to anything, swings of people going more conservative in politics, swings going more liberal. Religion has done this, going very extreme to one end and going extreme to another end. And God is a God of balance. And I think we as Christians are always trying to find the balance between one crazy extreme and one crazy other extreme, trying to find that balance that needs to be there. And I feel like there was a swing that kind of happened in Christianity where there was a lot of they were seeing negative things being done by the arts. They saw a lot of problems. I look back at the old Hollywood movies, and like most of them were very pro-family. Had almost no swearing, almost no overt violence. Gratuitous violence.
You had the Hays Code for a while there.
Yeah, like there's like no sensuality really. Everything was very clean and great, and then it just started changing. And I think the devil's the best at he can't create anything, but he's so good at taking God's good gifts and just twisting them. And I think he started getting in there of starting to twist those. He saw something good that was happening that I think was being a very positive thing in our country, in the world, and then just started twisting it and bringing in, the vices, bringing in the sin, bringing in the edginess, bringing in those things. And then as humans, if we don't have a right philosophy of thinking, we're sheep, right? The Bible calls us sheep. We just kind of follow whoever talks the loudest and the most excited, and we kind of follow them. And we
Right.
don't have a biblical reason for thinking, why are we doing what we're doing? And so I feel like that it was kind of started in a fairly positive way, and then the devil comes in like he normally does with a good thing and twists it. And then I think Christians saw that wrong, happening, where movies or stage was promoting wrong lifestyles, wrong attitudes, wrong philosophies. And so, and they reacted, they swung way far away from it. Well, that must be bad. Stage and film are bad, so let's swing way far away from it. And I feel like it's starting to come back now, some, but I think still there's just a lot of this misinformation about it. And then how do we use it in the right way? And that we need to spend a lot of time here on philosophy, because we see that as vitally important. We want young people to go out of here from our college program, from being in our Logos theater productions, from being in our camps, and that they would know how to be better thinkers, not just, I can go up on the stage and act a little better.
Right.
That's really simply a tool to teach a lot deeper truths. So I think there was a twist. I think there was a swing away from it. And hopefully that's our goal, is to bring that back to where these are things given to us by God. God is, one of his names is the creator. He's the source of creativity. So to just remove that, I think again, it just shows a wrong problem with a lot of people's way of thinking about what the arts are, why they're supposed to be used, and how they're supposed to be used.
Amen. Yeah. No, exactly. You touch on something that I think is important is, we being created in the image of God. There's a lot of debate as to what exactly that means, but I think the two chief parts of that is, having dominion over creation, but then also being creators ourselves, obviously not ex nihilo, but
Right.
or at least not personally.
Yeah.
but,
Right.
not ex nihilo, but that we have that desire to make new things or to improve upon things.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
I definitely echo that, because our ability to create is an amazing thing, and as God's put that into us. And we have a big thing that we go through with tonal communication of, we're communicating all the time. Just did a thing with our staff about, there was one study where it was, when you talk to somebody, they're hearing, the overall message that they're getting from you is 10% from your words, 30% from your tones, and then the other 60% from your body language. And that's just amazing, thinking of, people may not remember much what you say, but they remember how you said it, the passion with you said it, the truth that was there, and the need to be able, and so that's why we spend so much time with our people on communication, and the importance of even tone in our communication, and how that relates to speaking, how it relates to singing, how it relates to so many different things. So that's a big that's a big topic there, but it's very important.
Absolutely. What one of the things I appreciate about Logos Theater too, the one, admittedly only one, but it was good. One performance I've been to is that you guys are good. Where there's been sort of a lot of commentary about Christian art. It's good that we're getting into the movies and things, but the quality can sometimes be lacking. Do you guys? I'm assuming that you guys sort of theology drives your desire to do a high quality performance. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. That's a great point, and God is a God of excellence, and it's sad, how much. It's a frustration of, the world will put in millions and tens and hundreds of millions into some project that's promoting filth, that's promoting a completely wrong idea, wrong philosophy. But why? Because they know it has to be done to a certain level, to reach the audience that they're trying to reach. If it's done in a cheesy way, if it's done poorly, if it's not done well, they know that most people won't really receive it. And so they know they have to put in the money and the time and the effort to make it do what they want it to do. Of course,
Right.
they're probably more money driven and just fame driven. But that it makes it more sad, I think, for us as Christians, because we have the glory of God, not just fame and money. We have the glory of God at stake, and we still, sometimes will do things just so poorly and not excellently that I think it is a real disservice to the cause of Christ, and can even turn people away because they see a Christian movie, and oh boy, that sadly that's my first response when I hear about a Christian film. I'm wondering, oh boy, it's probably going to be cheesy and poorly done, and the special effects will be bad, and if there are any, and all this stuff. And and there isn't a big market for funding. It's growing. It's exciting. We've done some research. There's
Right.
even secular people are realizing there's some money to be made in Christian film, because a lot of Christians are so desperate for something to show their kids, for a
Right.
movie, for something, that they'll buy anything that says it's Christian. And so some financial people are saying, "Wow, there's some really good money in this," because they're going to buy it no matter what, even if it's bad.
Right.
Yeah, our theology really is that God is a God of excellence. He's the ultimate creator. Why in the world would we do something halfway when we're trying to do it for God and for His glory? This goes far beyond doing it just for making money, doing it just to become famous, doing it just to make a name for yourself. It goes for we're trying to lift up the name of God. And so when that's at stake, we're going to fight as hard as we can. We don't have a lot of funding, but we have some very creative people that know how to do some really amazing things. And so our goal always there in that is to do things as well as possible, so that, like what I said earlier, unsaved people, the world will come in and say, what? This is a Christian place. Like, what? I wasn't expecting it to be good. And then all of a sudden, the message and the excellence and the story can draw them in. And now all of a sudden, what the world does to us, we can do to the world. Now they're sitting there wrapped up and they're glued to this story, and good messages and good ideas and good morals, and those good things are being kind of brought in the back door to them. They would want to sit in church and have someone preach at them, but they all of a sudden now we're getting truth into them. But that only normally happens when something's done well and excellently. And so that's, first of all, lifting up the name of Christ and His excellence, but secondly, to get the message out to an unsaved world. Almost anybody listens when something's done well and done in an excellent way.
Right. No, amen. Very good. Well, what would you say to the person out there who is wondering what they can be doing to activate their faith, to live an active life? What advice do you have to the person out there who's wondering what calling God is putting on their heart?
That's a great one. We have something here called a gap year, and and most people, they do that right out of high school. They're not sure what they're going to do yet, and take a gap year to kind of figure out what next step is, if that's going straight into work or vocation or college or whatever that is. So we've done that. We've started that here the last couple of years, a GAP program, but we use the acronym GAIN a Perspective, for GAP. That people will have that year to really look at it. And it's great, again, in a theater setting, because they're getting to learn building, construction, some electrical, graphic design, marketing and promotions, sewing, makeup, acting and directing, all these different things they're getting, all these different
Right.
life skills that they kind of get to touch a little bit and say, where are my interests? Where is
Right.
something, oh, I really like doing that. I didn't even know I had a knack for doing that. And so I think a lot of times exposure is one of the best things that I've found, and that's why I appreciate so much about my parents. They did a great job of just trying to expose my brothers and I, and the younger sister, about 10 years younger than me, a little afterthought there. But all of us, they did a great job of giving us as many opportunities as possible. They had us play sports. They had us involved in fine arts. They had us sing. They had us very heavily involved in our church. They had us involved in just some hard manual labor, and just doing a variety of things gave us opportunities to kind of see where we were, and kind of start trying to find what it was that God wanted us to do. And I would encourage people to do that as they're getting to that point, maybe a little later in high school or in those college years, and still trying to figure out what exactly am I supposed to do with my life. First of all, I guess the challenge of the Great Commission, we're all called to be communicators. We're all called to give the gospel and make disciples. And so that's
Right.
another reason I really encourage people, hey, come to our program, because we're not trying just to make a bunch of actors or film people. We're trying to make great communicators so that people can go out into almost any vocation and be effective for the cause of Christ. And we've seen that with we've had a great representation of that from our group that has graduated from our college, that the majority of them go into quite a vast variety of things, because we've tried to expose them to a number of different things. So I guess I would challenge the listeners, anybody out there who's struggling, what's my next step? How do I know what God wants for me? Look at something that we always tell people is, be in God's word, be praying, seek godly advice from older people that have gone before you, and then look at your talents. Look at what you enjoy doing. Look at what God has blessed you in your desires, and look at those combination of those four things to kind of see what's next. And then keep exposing yourself to new opportunities, new things that you might not even think you like, or might have an interest in, but when you go do them, all of a sudden, your eyes open a little bit to something new that maybe God does have for you. So I think the word and prayer and good advice, good godly advice from older people, looking at your own talents and desires and abilities, and then trying to keep exposing yourself to new opportunities can really help make it become clear of what those next steps are for that God has for each and every person's life.
Amen. Very good. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything going on at the Academy or the theater you'd like to mention?
Yeah, we just finished our third production of the C.S. Lewis series that we're working on, the Horse and His Boy, and we're excited about. Hopefully, we don't have a specific plan yet for our next one. We have our next season coming up, and we have a God Meant It for Good, an epic biblical story of Joseph, his brothers in Egypt. Incredible story. People say the Bible's not dramatic, and wow, like, have you read your Bible recently? You can't make that stuff up, what happened in Joseph's life. I mean, the best storyteller would have said that's crazy, but that's what happened, and that's so. We're doing that one. We're doing a Christmas Carol, but it's all it's brand new music. We just did it for the first time this last year, so we'll be doing that again. So it's a brand new musical. It's a classic story, but all fantastic brand new music with it. So that's coming up this Christmas, and then we're doing there's a series called the Lamplighter series, and I don't know if you're familiar with that ministry, but they take really old books and turn them into very professional dramas, audio dramas, excuse me. And we're going to be doing one of those stories, taking it directly from the book. It won't be from the audio drama; it'll be directly from the book, about a peek behind the scenes. So it's a really neat play about the dangers of plays. It's an awesome story, powerful, gripping story. So anyway, if people we would love to get more information out to people about all these things, about our college program. They can go to our website, thelogostheater.com, and look at a bunch of things there for our college program, for being involved in a camp and a production. We'd love to have people come get involved and get some further training in the areas of the arts and thinking and philosophy, so that everybody can keep being better equipped and trained to be the communicators for Christ that we're supposed to be.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Here, I'm going to